We all value that. And now it's time to get back to the work at hand and a very full agenda.
Yeah. The voluptuous. Weird. People think that they get to look at it. Yeah, it was like.
That is the power of the vice chairmanship of the California Transportation Commission. Welcome back, everyone. We have good news. Commissioner Arp is able to stay longer than he had anticipated. We appreciate that. And we will continue with a supermajority of the commission. I also felt that perhaps in the afternoon our blood sugar may be getting low, so colleagues on the commission, I'll be passing down these cookies that are bigger than the size of my head so that you can split those with your colleagues and enjoy them. With that, let's move on to item 18. On CEQA guidelines implementing SB 743. Carrie?
Commissioners, agenda item 18 is an action item, and you should have a pink. At the Commission's October meeting, the Governor's Office of Planning and Research provided an overview of the preliminary discussion draft of update to the CEQA guidelines implementing SB 743. Additionally, the commissioners heard from a number of presentations and comments on the discussion draft from a variety of entities representing implementing agencies. As of the close of the comment period on the discussion draft, which was November 21st, OPR received over 200 comments. Staff have met with OPR to get an update of their process, and at this time, staff recommends the Commission direct staff to transmit a comment letter to OPR recommending the continued collaboration with the regional transportation agencies in resolving issues raised during the preliminary discussion draft comment period. I'm asking for your approval.
There's a motion to approve by Vice Chair Dunn, second by, was that Commissioner Medaffer? Commissioner Taglioni. Questions or comments to our staff? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That passes unanimously. Thank you, Carrie.
Thank you.
Item 19, Road Charge Technical Advisory Committee. Laura?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Agenda item 19 has been provided to you as a pink. This is an action item. As you are well aware, Senate Bill 1077, authored by Senator Desaulniers, was signed by the Governor on September 29th. Senate Bill 1077 creates the California Road Usage Charge Pilot Program. This bill tasks the chair of the commission, in consultation with the agency secretary, to convene a technical advisory committee consisting of 15 members. The committee is required to study road usage charge alternatives to the gas tax, gather public comment, and make recommendations to the transportation agency that will inform pilot program design and evaluation. Based on the recommendations of the committee, the Transportation Agency is then tasked with implementing a pilot program by January 1st, 2017, and must submit a report of its findings by June 30th, 2018. To meet the statutory deadlines outlined in Senate Bill 1077 and to allow sufficient time to prepare for pilot program implementation, staff recommends the appointment of members to the committee at today's meeting. With respect to committee membership, Senate Bill 1077 provides the following direction. When identifying members of the committee, the chair of the commission shall consider individuals representing the following areas: the telecommunications industry, highway user groups, the data security and privacy industry, privacy rights advocacy organizations, regional transportation agencies, national research and policy-making bodies, members of the legislature, and other relevant stakeholders as determined by the chair. Utilizing the membership guidance provided in Senate Bill 1077, Commission staff consulted with individuals representing the legislature, Caltrans, regional transportation agencies, and other interested stakeholders to identify organizations and individuals that represent a broad-based and geographically balanced membership for consideration. The information that was gathered was shared with the Commission Chair and the Transportation Secretary. At the November 12th Commission meeting, a list of potential organizations was provided to the Commission for consideration and for us to receive public input. After final consultation between the Commission Chair and the Transportation Secretary, the individuals identified on Attachment 1 of your book item were contacted and confirmed their interest in serving on the committee. As of today, 13 of the 15 members have confirmed their participation on the committee. In light of the fact that this item was provided as a pink, and for the audience, particularly those who are watching via webcast, we will project attachment 1, and also I will read the names. Staff recommendations for the Technical Advisory Committee include Commissioner Jim Medaffer as the chair. For telecommunications, James Meisner, board member for the Intelligent Transportation Society of California. For data security and privacy, Gautam Hans, director of the Center for Democracy and Technology in San Francisco. For privacy rights advocacy, the Electronic Frontier Foundation, with a representative to be determined. Regional Transportation Agency representatives include Supervisor David Finnegan from Del Norte County, Supervisor Scott Haggerty from Alameda County, Mayor Robert Poitras from the City of Madera, Mayor Pam O'Connor from the City of Santa Monica. Members of the legislature include Senate Pro Tem appointee Senator Jim Bell from San Jose, as well as the Assembly Speaker appointee, which is yet to be determined. Highway user representatives include Stephen Finnegan, Manager of Government Affairs for the Automobile Club of Southern California, as well as Eric Sauer, Vice President of Policy for the California Trucking Association. For national research and policy-making bodies, we have Professor Martin Wex from UCLA. For business and economy, we have Lauren Kay, President of the Foundation for Commerce and Education. And for the social equity representative, we have Richard Marcantonio, Managing Attorney for Public Advocates Incorporated. Richard's acceptance was secured after the book item was generated, hence my chicken scratch on the screen. Hopefully everyone can read his name. He currently leads Public Advocates' Transportation, Housing, and Climate Advocacy team, where he serves as an interdisciplinary advocate for transportation equity and affordable housing, working on issues ranging from civil rights enforcement to regional sustainable community strategies. As depicted in Attachment 1, the representative from the Electronic Frontier Foundation as well as the Assembly Speaker appointment are still pending at this time. We anticipate these appointments will be formalized at the January 22nd meeting. Given the statutory limitation of the committee to 15 members, staff would like to emphasize that Senate Bill 1077 specifically requires the 15-member advisory committee to consult with highway users and other transportation stakeholders. The committee will undertake an open and inclusive process to engage these and all stakeholders in the study of road usage charge alternatives and in the development of recommendations on pilot program design. Staff recommends the Commission appoint the individuals listed in Attachment 1 to the California Road Usage Charge Technical Advisory Committee, with the understanding that staff will bring the 2 pending appointments to the January 22nd meeting for Commission approval. That concludes my staff report. I would be happy to take any questions you may have.
Laura, thank you for the thorough report and the excellent work that you and your colleagues have done on staff. Are there questions from colleagues on the commission?
I move staff recommendation.
Second.
There's a motion by Commissioner Arp, second by Commissioner Taglioni. Is there further questions or comments? With that, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That passes unanimously. Whoa, I'm so sorry. We do have a speaker card. Thank you, Andre, for handing that to me. Christopher Lee would like to speak with this item. Christopher with the California State Association of Counties. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Chair, members of the Commission. I just wanted to support the staff recommendation and thank you for the broad role that you've provided local and regional agencies on the Technical Advisory Committee.
Thank you. Did Christopher talk anyone out of their yes vote? Seeing none, thank you, Christopher. With that, we'll move on to item 20, Willits Bypass Update. Stephen Mahler, would you please tee up this item?
Yes, Commissioners. Item 20 and item 21 deal with the Willits Bypass. Under item 20, we will have Charlie Fielder bring you up to date on the project. It's basically a 6-mile facility. It's about 55% completed. It has a 2-year delay in the project. And under item 20, I'll be asking you for a rather large allocation. So Charlie, take it away.
Thank you and good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Charlie Fielder, Caltrans District 1 Director for the North Coast, and I have with me who will be making a presentation, my single focal point, Mark Sukonic. Some of you may have met him before. Last June, I came to the Commission and provided an update on the status of where we were with this project. We are making progress, but as I also shared at that meeting, there were a number of issues that we had incurred over the last couple of seasons that had caused us delays and financial cost as well. We are going to be asking for a financial allocation in the next agenda item, but I'd like to go ahead and take an opportunity to give you a quick update on the project as well as some of the issues that were attributed to that, and then we have some experts with us to talk about the risk management strategy that we are doing for this project and just in general.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Not to minimize the importance or significance of our request, I'll keep this presentation at a fairly high level and brief, but would be happy to expand on any of the elements or answer any questions that you need in consideration of our request. So the Willits Bypass Project is a 5.9-mile bypass of the city of Willits in central Mendocino County. It, as Charlie mentioned, is over 50% complete. I would like to acknowledge in this discussion not only a positive relationship we have with our local funding partners, but also the support that they have had for this project and continues to be unwavering. We take the next slide, please. And next one, please. As Charlie mentioned, there have been several issues associated with this project that have incurred the cost increase and a request for supplemental funds. Those are broken into these 7 general elements. I believe were further expanded upon in the package, the agenda item. I won't go into details unless there's questions with that. Next slide. With those 7 items, there were identified many different risks associated with the project. Those risks were put into a level 3 risk management plan, and through that process and analysis, it generated this risk management curve or cost mitigation curve, which is what is supporting the request for the $64.7 million. In addition, in full disclosure, I do want to mention that in March of 2012, when the Commission voted this project, it was split into 5 projects. The main contract we're here discussing today, and along with 4 other contracts, 2 associated with relinquishment. Those contracts are moving forward and are in good condition. The 2 associated with mitigation, one is for fish passage. Through a permit modification this year, we are required to do mitigation on 2 forks rather than 1 fork of Ryan Creek, and the cost increase is about $1 million associated with that permit modification. In addition, we are continuing to work with the Corps and working on refining our estimates with regard to the wetland mitigation, but there is financial exposure associated with that part of this general project as well. Our anticipation is we'll be coming back to the Commission early next year, most probably in the June timeframe, to request an additional allocation for that mitigation project, and we'll have defined numbers obviously at that point. And with that, that concludes this presentation. I'll be happy to expand upon any of those items or answer any questions.
Colleagues? Yes, we're going to start with Commissioner Arp.
Well, I think the support of this commission for this project has been pretty unswerving all along, and I think we all recognize the importance of the project. We're nevertheless looking at what we're dealing with here on the cost increases. It's getting difficult to. I mean, when you start looking back, you wonder what you could have done differently. It's always a little bit unfair to be a Monday morning quarterback, but frankly, looking back, I think there's a lot of things we could have done differently to try to contain some of this. I am personally very unhappy with the way some of the federal and state agencies have basically treated this project and been insensitive to what I can see as very minor or even almost negligible improvements in environmental mitigation and quality versus the huge costs that have been the trade-off. And so we've just basically heaped a lot of extra costs on this project, extra seasons to get it done, and it's, you know, now we're looking at a project that is way more expensive than it should have been, and not necessarily any environmentally better than it would have been from the beginning. So that's just my opinion, but here we are. We obviously need to move forward. I think that there is an interest to see what can we do. Is there anyone that really realistically believes that there will ever be a phase 2 to this project and additional lanes and so forth? And since that is a huge question in my mind personally, I have to look at the interchanges. I think the one interchange that you've revamped, wasn't there some discussion about making that interchange a roundabout just to basically simplify the project and still be able to move the traffic through there?
There was a request for us to consider that. We did, as part of the suspension of our core permit, look at modifying the northern interchange, and we have consolidated that to incur some wetland impact savings. There was also a roundabout associated with that interchange, but it was where the southbound off-ramp and on-ramp came together with the existing highway. That has been eliminated, but the request to remove the interchange and replace it with a roundabout is concerning from a safety perspective, in that 101 is an interregional route with expectation of fairly high speeds. Our experience with multi-lane roundabouts in our district, which is only one, has not been very favorable. So there's concerns from a traffic safety perspective of going to a multi-lane roundabout at the end of what would be a 2-lane expressway freeway.
So for you, it was what I'm hearing is that you considered it, but from a safety standpoint, you opted to keep a more developed traditional interchange.
Right. And at this point, we have pretty much impacted all of the footprint of the northern interchange. So the savings associated with eliminating the interchange, other than the actual structures work, would be fairly minimal. I don't have a number for you today, but okay. I was 10 years in traffic safety before I came into this position. And our traffic safety issues throughout our district, being rural, being in California, where Californians, from my perspective, don't understand what a yield means, it's fairly concerning, a multi-lane roundabout. We, as I indicated, have a 1.5 lane roundabout that was constructed over on the coast on Min 1, and we just remodified it to make it a 1-lane roundabout because we had issues where people were passing each other at high speeds within the roundabout. So
within the roundabout.
Yeah. So those echo those concerns, and that's my.
Thank you.
I've just been handed a speaker card, so why don't we hear from our speaker, and then we'll go back to members of the commission. Lee Kloss with the Sherwood Valley Band of Pomo from Willits. Lee? Lee, welcome to the California Transportation Commission.
Thank you very much.
You have up to 3 minutes for comments, and we don't start until you do.
Hi, my name is Lee Kloss, and I'm speaking to you today on behalf of Sherwood Valley Band of Pomos Tribal Council. The tribe is a recognized consulting party on the Willits Bypass Project pursuant to Sections 101D6 and 106 of the National Historic Preservation Act. Sherwood Valley's leadership has asked that I address the Commission today regarding the Caltrans request for allocation of supplemental funds for the Willits Bypass Project. Specifically, Tribal Council has asked that I inform the Commission of the Sherwood Valley Band of Pomos' great concern with 3 aspects of this request. Firstly, Sherwood Valley finds it necessary to notify the Commission that contrary to the statements Caltrans has made in their request, there have been no burial sites found on the Willits Bypass Project. Sherwood Valley is very disturbed by this gross mischaracterization of the archaeological reality of the project. That said, the tribe is not surprised by this duplicity. After all, the inclusion of such erroneous information obfuscates the shameful truth that while cultural resources have indeed contributed to project cost overruns, this is but the natural result of Caltrans's pathological noncompliance with federal historic preservation law, their thoroughly unprofessional and long-belated archaeological site identification and ESA establishment efforts, and their complete lack of proactive project planning and budgeting to incorporate costs for cultural resource-based discoveries. In other words, the costs incurred by the project due to cultural resources were not, as Caltrans implies, unforeseeable or unpreventable, but rather the direct result of gross project mismanagement. 2, with regard to Caltrans's reference to burial sites, let it be understood that Sherwood Valley's leadership is intensely angered by Caltrans's misappropriation of Little Lake Valley Pomo ancestors to justify their request for supplemental funds. To have ancestors co-opted by the very agency that has consistently treated cultural resources with apathy, if not outright contempt, is profoundly disrespectful. Every day for the last 18 months, Sherwood Valley's Tribal Council has vigorously battled with Caltrans about the significance of the archaeology contained in the Little Lake Valley, the responsible treatment of these resources, and the proper staffing levels needed to do justice across the project APE. It has been a grueling task, made unnecessarily so by Caltrans's endless recalcitrance, concealment, and contrary attitude toward tribal concerns, and their consistent refusal to dedicate appropriate numbers of staff to address what is tantamount to an archaeological district. For all of these reasons, Tribal Council finds Caltrans's decision to now self-servingly place value on what they have previously ignored, devalued, and damaged to be the height of hypocrisy. Thirdly and lastly, while Sherwood Valley's leadership does not dispute Caltrans has a monumental financial deficit on the bypass, the tribe is necessarily concerned with how the requested $64 million will be budgeted across the project.
Lee, your time is up, but why don't you finish your thought if you have just another sentence or two.
I do have just another sentence. That would be I would appreciate that. The bottom line is that the tribe would ask that if the commission chooses to move forward with funding this request for additional monies, that the commission would direct Caltrans to obligate at least 1% of that money to address the Section 106 base compliance for the project, specifically with half of that money being used to address the mitigation obligations that are being developed under a programmatic agreement for the project and tribal monitoring services that will be ongoing. This will help manage the now 31 archaeological sites that we have to deal with on this project. Thank you.
Lee, thank you for coming all the way down to Riverside. Are there any other public comment cards that anyone would like to submit? Okay, seeing none, we'll go back to commission comments. Commissioner Inman, and then Commissioner Assemi.
I have a question in regard to the level 3 risk management. The 50% probable cause, this has been, I think, considered a high-risk project, and so how do we land at the 50% number?
My name is Rich Foley. I work for California Department of Transportation. I do risk management. This assessment was basically the result of a level 3 risk assessment, which is the most comprehensive risk assessment that the department does. It's a quantitative risk assessment. Basically what they do is they have a facilitated session. They bring in a consultant that's an expert in risk management, bring them together, and they sit down with the project team and discuss all the risks that are associated with the project. And they put a probability of that risk occurring, and they also quantify the cost impact of that risk should it occur. And so that sum of all risks is run through a statistical analysis, and that curve is the output of that assessment.
Thank you.
Commissioner Assemi, and then it looks like Director Doherty would also like to be recognized.
Can Caltrans address the comments that were just brought up by Ms. Lee and the request?
I think that was a question. Director Doherty, do you or a member of your team?
I'll have either Charlie or Mark address the concerns that were raised by the tribe and the interaction, elaborate on the interaction that we've already done. What I wanted to inject in addition to the comments about the risk management plan, there is a 50% confidence level going into this ask. Our requirement, Charlie's and mine, is to manage, monitor those risks. The risk management plan also identifies mitigation strategies for each of those risks. Our intent is to go in after we reset this baseline today and manage and monitor this project very closely and try to come in within the budget that we're reestablishing today. Now, there is a 50% risk to that. There are a lot of risks that we know about. There are probably some risks that we don't know about. But our mission is to now manage this project within the re-baselined budget that we're identifying today.
Thank you. I did run a casino, so I understand the 50% odds on that. But I think that hopefully when we have a project at the high-risk level, we are trying to get ourselves to the probability being a little closer that our number is on, because 50% means half were on and half were not on that number.
Well, at this point, the challenge that we have is the higher confidence level you go in now, the higher the ask becomes. There are things that we can do as a department in managing the project that can affect those risks and can affect that 50% number, and I think that's what Charlie and his team and I need to work towards.
One standard deviation gives you quite a swing on what that number would be, if I look at this right.
And again, Commissioner Assimi's question was about the issues that were raised by Lee Kloss in her comments.
Yes, we are committed and have been committed to working with the tribe with regard to all the issues regarding the impacts of the project and cultural resources. We have tribal monitors and intend to continue with tribal monitors on the contract. The issue with regard to the terminology in the book item on burial sites was not intended to give significance where there hasn't been significance from Caltrans. We understand there have not been any human remains found within the project limits, and again, it wasn't to give a higher significance for the consideration of the supplemental vote. But we are meeting with the tribe on a regular basis. We are willing to address any of their issues with regard to mitigation. We are in process of a programmatic agreement with the Sherwood Valley Tribe with regard to the impact that happened at the Northern Interchange. And that is an ongoing process that our environmental staff is working with the tribe to get to consensus or conclusion.
Darius, any follow-up questions, Commissioner Assimi? No. Okay. Questions from others? Okay. What is the will of the Commission?
Well, this item is just an information item.
This is the information part. That's 20. Okay. Yeah. And we're going on to 21.
Item 21 is the ask.
Yes.
And
Thank you,
under item 21, the request is that you allocate $64.7 million to this project. Staff recommends that you approve this request. And after you approve this request, staff would recommend that you appoint a committee that would be looking at how we deal with delivery and overruns on projects.
Okay. Thank you, Stephen, on both counts. I'm going to go to Vice Chair Dunn. We're going to break these out, by the way.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Stephen, the tribe representative mentioned allocating a portion of those funds to certain uses. Is that within our purview? Are we allowed to make that?
No, that's not within your purview. You just allocate to the project, and then the department would determine which activities need to be funded from those funds.
Thank you. I wanted that on the record. Thank you, Stephen.
Vice Chair Dunn, thank you. Again, the staff recommendation.
I move staff recommendation.
And these are two different recommendations. So we're going to start with the allocation of funds of $64.7 million. And there's a motion by Commissioner Arp. There's a second by Commissioner Taglione. Further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That passes unanimously. As Stephen alluded to, I think it's an appropriate time to work even more closely with Caltrans on potential challenges like we are experiencing with the Willits bypass. And I'd like to recommend that we appoint 3 or 4 commissioners to a committee that will work with Caltrans on project delivery issues prior to discussion at our commission meetings. With that, it's always easier to appoint people who aren't here to defend themselves, but both Commissioners Alvarado and Gilmetti have worked on these issues in the past, and their professional day job experience, I think, would serve that well, and Caltrans desire well. And in addition, here on the dais with us today, Commissioner Arp, you've also worked on these in the past, and it's part of your professional background. And Commissioner Simi, if you don't mind, with your professional background, I'd like to appoint you as well. So I'd be looking for a motion in a second to move forward with the establishment of that committee, or if I can just do it on my own, I will. But it doesn't seem very democratic to just do it on my own. Commissioner Medaffer makes a motion. Commissioner Tablioni seconds that we form this committee of those 4 leaders and move forward. There's a motion and a second. Further discussion? Yes, Commissioner Arp.
I would recommend you amend the motion to approve all those except Commissioner Arp.
And that dies for lack of a second?
Where are my friends on this commission?
With that, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? My thanks to those 4.
Mr. Chair, I look forward to working with the committee on that matter.
Thank you, Director Doherty. We appreciate that. With that, we are on to item 22, approval of projects for future consideration of funding. Laura?
Commissioners, item 22 is an action item. This item is a final EIR for the South Coast 101 HOV lanes project in Santa Barbara County. This project will reconfigure 2 interchanges and will add 1 part-time continuous access HOV lane on northbound and southbound US 101 for approximately 11 miles between the cities of Carpinteria and Santa Barbara. The EIR identified significant and unavoidable impacts related to visual and aesthetic resources. Caltrans adopted a statement of overriding considerations, finding that the benefits of the project outweigh the impacts. Staff has also been made aware that litigation has been filed against the EIR for this project. However, it is our understanding that a stay or injunction has not been issued at this time. Staff recommends that the Commission accept the EIR, findings, and overriding considerations, and approve this project for future consideration of funding.
I move staff recommendation.
Great. That was moved by Commissioner Fromer, seconded by Commissioner Assemi. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That passes unanimously. We've already covered the information items 23 through 37, as well as the consent items 38 through 59. So we are moving on to item 60, policy matters. Lori Waters.
Commissioners, tab 60 is an action item to adopt the San Diego Association of Governments MPO component of the 2014 Active Transportation Program. Staff recommendations were made available to the Commission, Caltrans, and regional agencies via email on November 24th, 2014, and posted on the Commission's website. At the November Commission meeting, the Commission adopted the ATP programs for the other 8 large MPOs. SANDAG's program recommendation consists of 2 active transportation projects that will use ATP funds of $13,410,000. Staff is recommending adoption as submitted by SANDAG. With the adoption of SANDAG's program, the 2014 Active Transportation Program will be fully adopted. Staff recommends your adoption of SANDAG's Active Transportation Program MPO component.
I'll move staff's recommendation.
Second.
That's a motion by Commissioner Medaffer, a second by Commissioner Fromer. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? And that passes unanimously. Before we go on to item 61, though, just some amazing staff work has been done on the ATP guidelines in the first year effort. And we wanted to take a moment, pause, and recognize the work of our entire team with an emphasis on someone who joined our team for this effort, and that's David Gianco. David, could you come forward? David, we want to recognize your hard work and your dedication to the development and adoption of our 2014 Active Transportation Program. You have built a foundation for the future years of this important effort for active transportation, and we would like to present to you a resolution to underscore our appreciation for your leadership on behalf of the taxpayers and residents of the state of California. Comments from other commissioners? To Laura, to Mitch, to others who worked on this, we want to thank you again for the outstanding work that you have done. If there are no other comments, Lori, thanks again for that. We're going to come back to you now with technical adjustments to the ATP in item 61.
Okay, Commissioners, this is an action item to approve technical adjustments to programming in 8 counties for the 2014 Active Transportation Program. Please note that this is a replacement pink book item. The 2014 ATP was adopted by the Commission at the August and November 2014 CTC meetings. At those meetings, staff indicated that there would likely be the need for additional technical changes and corrections. The adopted 2014 ATP resolutions include a clause authorizing staff in consultation with Caltrans and regional agencies to make further technical changes, with all substantive changes to be brought back to the Commission for approval. The attachment to this item lists all the identified adjustments to the ATP since the November meeting. Staff recommends your approval of this item as shown in the pink replacement.
Second.
There's a motion by Commissioner Tablioni, a second by Commissioner Arp.
No, Commissioner.
Was that Commissioner Frommer's voice? Okay, great. Thank you. Any further conversation? Seeing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? That passes unanimously. Thank you, Lori. Stephen, item 62, Trade Corridors Improvement Fund.
Yes, Commissioners. The next item is a program amendment to amend in 2 projects into the TCIF program. One is a project for the Southern California Rail Authority, and the other one is for right now Route 99 in San Joaquin County. Staff recommends that you approve this amendment.
So moved.
A motion by Commissioner Frommer, second by Commissioner Tablioni. Discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That passes unanimously. Stephen, back to you for 63.
Yes, Commissioners. Item 63 is the actual baseline agreement for the SCRA project. Staff would be recommending that you approve this amendment, and I believe that Fran Inman has something to say about the sanctity of baseline amendments.
Okay, we'll foreshadow and see if you're psychic today, Stephen. Fran Inman, do you have something to say about this?
I'm just hoping that our baseline agreement will be reflective of the description we have here. So, thank you.
Okay. With that, thank you, Vice Chair Dunn. Second by Commissioner Inman. Discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That passes unanimously. Item 64, Laurel Jansen.
Yes, Commissioners, this is an information item, a STIP amendment for notice. There are 2 projects in the STIP in Santa Clara County. They're doing a swap of local and STIP funds in order to advance one of those projects to an earlier year. Staff has no issues with this amendment, and it will likely be placed on consent in January.
Okay, any questions on the Commission? Seeing none, we're going to move to 65, financial allocations. Juan?
Commissioners, this is a monthly allocation for SHOP projects. The department is ready to proceed with these 11 projects, and staff recommends approval of the allocation.
There's a motion by Commissioner Tablioni, and a tie goes to the runner with several. I'm going to say Commissioner Assemi. Questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? That passes unanimously. 66, Laurel?
Yes, Commissioners, items 66 and 67 are requests for STIP allocations for state-administered projects or for projects on the state system and off the state system. And, well, actually on the state system. I'm sorry, I'm getting confused. Both of these items are for, as I said, STIP allocations, and staff recommends approval.
There's a motion by Commissioner Tablioni, a second by Commissioner Assemi. Questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? That passes unanimously. Laurel, back to you.
Yes, Commissioner 68 has been withdrawn by the agency. Okay. And item 69, this is an action item, also STIP allocations for locally administered projects. Staff recommends your approval.
Motion by Vice Chair Dunn, second by Commissioner Tablioni. Comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? That passes unanimously. Item 70, Stephen.
Yes, Commissioners. Item 70 is a request to allocate funds to a project whose request is exceeding the program amount by more than 20%. This project was programmed after storms that happened on the Pacific Coast Highway in 2010-2011 for roughly $3 million. At that point in time, the department went to work on this project, and the Coastal Commission requested that they do extensive studies on wave motion. These studies took a very long time because they wanted a study that was at least a year long. In the meantime, we had storms in the summer of 2004 that washed out even more of the coastline there. We have some pictures here to show you. This is kind of the condition of what was happening right after the 2011 storms, and you can see that there's a bunch of K-rail that was placed along the edge so cars wouldn't go into the drink. And if you go to the next, and you can see this is what's happening after the further hurricanes. You can start seeing that there's stuff eroding underneath the K-rail. And the next slide, please. And here you can see after this summer's hurricanes that you can actually see daylight between the K-rail and the pavement. So this thing is progressing and getting much worse. Now the Coastal Commission is actually wanting the department to go ahead and start fixing this. So this request is for, let's see, $6.5 million to allocate this project and get it done.
Second.
There was a motion by, it sounded like Commissioner Tablioni, second by Commissioner Fromer. Discussion?
Just a quick question. Can we send the Coastal Commission the bill for the delay and the additional costs?
We would love to. But I don't think they will send us a check. How much did the study cost? That I don't really know, and Carrie is kind of sick, so she's not here.
Yeah, we'll get back to you with an answer on that. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Carl. Mr. Chair.
There's a comment before our vote or a question, Commissioner
Yeah,
Inman?
just a question. They're telling us we're going to have a really, really big storm this week. So given this precarious situation, anything we're doing in advance of that, or we just see what we look like after the storm?
I think we might see that K-rail in the ocean. No.
Any safety precautions need to be taken? Signage? Besides the K-rail that's
I'm sure they're going to move the K-rail, and I believe there's additional riprap that's up there too. Well, with any storm, as issues come up, we do have to go out and address them. So, you know, this is definitely a challenging area along the coast.
Yeah. Rachel, thank you.
Well noticed for the motorist, Rachel? Is it well noticed for the motorist?
Yes, I'm sure that it is. Yes, it is.
And is this lane open next to this daylighted area, or is it closed?
I'm sure that there's a distance between where you can actually get to the. I'm sure there are cones and stuff. Yeah, I'm sure there is.
No,
I haven't gone out and looked at it myself.
This is actually sitting right on the shoulder, so the cars are pretty close. So the faster we get this vote, the faster we can get to fix this.
Call for the question.
Yes, thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? That passes unanimously. Stephen Muller?
Thank you. Next item is 71. This is the annual allocation for the local bridge seismic retrofit program of $7.1 million. Staff recommends approval.
Second.
A motion by Commissioner Tablioni, second by Commissioner Assimi. Questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? 72. Stephen?
72 is a actual allocation of $8.2 million for the SCRA project that you approved the baseline agreement and amended into the program. Staff recommends approval.
Second.
There's a motion by Commissioner Assimi, a second by, sounded like Commissioner Fromer. Questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Item 73, one.
Commissioners, item 73 is an allocation of $108 million from the Prop 1B Intercity Rail Program. This is the second allocation for rail car purchases, and the department is ready to proceed with exercising options on the existing contract so they can order additional cars and locomotives, and also to install the onboard information system on all the vehicles, all the rolling stock, including the original rail cars and locomotives purchased, and this option, the ones that are going to be purchased through this option. Staff recommends approval of the $108 million allocation.
Motion by Commissioner Fromer, second by Vice Chair Dunn. Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That passes unanimously. Item 74, Lori?
This item is to allocate $3,395,000 of ATP funds to 13 projects. $2,770,000 is for 12 locally administered projects, and $625,000 is for one state-administered project. Staff recommends your approval.
Motion by Commissioner Tablioni, a second by Commissioner Assimi. Questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? That passes unanimously. 75, Juan Guzman?
Excuse me, 75 has been withdrawn.
Juan, thank you. 76, back to you, Juan.
76, this is an allocation of $4 million for state-administered rail projects. It's $2 million to each of the two projects, and staff recommends your approval.
Motion by Commissioner Tablioni, second by Commissioner Madaffer. Any questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? That passes unanimously. Teresa, item 77.
This is a financial allocation for 3 projects programmed in the aeronautics program to match the federal airport improvement program. Staff recommends your approval.
Motion by Commissioner Tablioni, second by Commissioner Fromer. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? That passes unanimously. Juan, back to you for item 78.
Commissioners, items 78, 79, and 80 are the time extensions on this month's agenda. There's been a change to 2 projects on item 79. One has been withdrawn. Project number 6 has been withdrawn, has been awarded. And project number 9, the request has been increased to 9 months from the original 3 months. Staff recommends approval of the 3 items with those changes noted.
There is a motion by Commissioner Tablioni, a second by Commissioner Assimi. Questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? That passes unanimously. We are now to other matters and public comment. Is there any member of the public who would wish to speak on any item that has not been on our agenda? Any member of the commission? Andre Boutros, your last commission hearing formally as our executive director. Thank you again for your 3 decades of leadership. We hope you will all join us in celebrating tonight at the reception. And this meeting of the California Transportation Commission is adjourned.
Thank you, and thank you.